Welcome to the Danny Clinkscale Reasonably Irreverent podcast. Insightful and witty commentary, probing interviews, and detours from the beaten path.
Every once in a while, we have to bring out the big dog.
Yeah.
Oh, God help us. It's time for Danny Unleashed. Sponsored by Easton Roofing, where integrity matters. Go to eastonroofing.com for more.
Yes, go to eastonroofing.com for more. You will find one of the fastest growing companies in Kansas City, residential and commercial roofing, project manager on every site. Happy to do repairs. 4 straight years, voted Best of Houses Award winner, Angela's Super Service Award winner. Their Google reviews speak for themselves. You'll find out just how pleased people are with the work that's been done by Easton Roofing. No payment collected until you're 100% satisfied. Credit cards and PayPal, yep, they're accepted. Financing, yes, that's available as well. Difficult times sometimes mean you need a little help getting done what you need done to your roof. Happy to do repairs, and of course you can get a free inspection and a free estimate right now. Just call Easton Roofing at 913-257-5426. Find them online at eastonroofing.com, and because they are growing so fast, they are hiring. Generous sign-on bonus for qualified candidates. Additional bonus for veterans. Little or no experience. That's all right. They will pay you to train in the industry, and great benefits like profit sharing, health insurance, and 401k match, company vehicle and tools, guaranteed year-round work. That is Easton Roofing all over the metro, including Lawrence, Topeka. They're happy to take care of you. Give them a call. Taylor will be happy to get you going, whether or not it's to get employment or whether or not it's to get something done on your roof. Call 913-257-5426. Find them online at eastonroofing.com. Danny, my friend, how are you?
Doing all right, Soren. Doing as well as can be expected in these uncertain times.
That's about all we can ask.
You know, when people, you know, you just so routinely say, "How are you doing in life?" And right now, it just seems like a question that ought to be set aside for a while because there's always a caveat. You know, because you generally just say, "I'm fine," you know, or "I'm great." But now it's on a sliding scale, to say the least.
For a lot of people, that's just a way of acknowledging, greeting you.
Right.
Hey, how you doing?
Well, and they don't expect it. And they certainly don't expect an honest answer back.
Right.
Well, it's also like hey, I give a crap enough to ask, how are you doing?
Yeah.
Right. That's true.
Maybe you could just be like, I'm fine.
Well, generally, I just
and
do
not
say
parse it for 20 minutes.
Generally, I do say I'm fine, but then I'm thinking, well, I guess I'm fine. It's all right, you know. I've been
back's a little sore.
I'm fine for. How about this? I'm 20/20 fine.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm not unwell, thank you.
You know, it's all right. Like, you got your health. I mean, you know, in these times, that's like actually a reason to be like, hey, I'm better than fine.
That's true. But during this wonderful year, we've dolloped on in our household a broken ankle for my wife, so that's
I remember.
That's added into the.
How's Jane doing?
She's getting there, but it's a slow process. She's off crutches.
But it sucks.
Yeah, she's done a good job. She's done a good job.
At least you don't really have anywhere to go.
That's true. I mean, right about now, we were actually supposed to be vacationing in California, going to a 75th wedding anniversary party for a relative on Jane's side, and then up to San Francisco to visit my daughter Cassidy. But that was off the boards about March 19th probably.
Yeah.
I mean, even then, you kind of had a little hope. You know, you're thinking, well, that's all the way out in July. Now they're canceling the Rose Parade.
I know. We had a trip to Florida planned that got canceled in June. It was for August 1st, and we canceled it in June. The good news is that Southwest canceled the flights before we even canceled the trip. And which I get it. I'm not trying to bang on Southwest. I mean, people aren't flying, so they're doing what they can to try to minimize the damage there. The bad news is that Hertz won't answer their phone for me to get my rental car changed.
That's not good. But the good thing is
Hertz can stick it. I'm going to tell you right now. Bend over and I'll show you where.
We've actually thought of just booking some flights on Southwest because they've got some really great rates now because they have that thing where basically it just becomes a gift certificate, really. You can use the funds another time. So
what, like booking for later in the year or something?
Just booking and something, and then you just say I'm not going now, and you get to use the funds. So
yeah, I give them credit. I think we've got 2 years to use that, so
right.
That's nice.
Yep. Well, let's hope that's not an issue.
Yeah, right. I would agree. Listen, because it was so effective last week, what has to happen for the Chris Jones deal to be a success? What can I put you down for, Danny?
I guess the same answer. Chris Jones has to play some good football. Chris Jones plays good football. The signing was wise.
And on this one, I'm willing to just take that.
Right.
Because it's harder to quantify. I mean, you could say sacks, pressures, pressure rate. You can get into the, a PFF grade of. There are things that you could do to quantify it, but it's harder to quantify a defensive player. Quarterbacks, the reason why you were just completely yellow last week in your unwillingness to play ball on my finely crafted segment that you crapped all over, is because quarterbacks do get wins and losses attached to their name. So I think you should have had the balls to jump into that one.
What he should have done was
I'll let you run scared.
What he should have done was done that with Jones. Just totally flip the thing around and say, I think they got to go to 5 division.
This guy's got to win Super Bowl MVP twice, never done by a defensive player.
I realize I'm going out there a ways, and maybe I'm asking too much, but he's got to do it.
Danny, Soren might have said that he's fine with that statement, but his real thoughts are such.
Suck it!
Well, there was a certain... I'd heard the little exercise so often also, and it's a fine exercise, that I decided to be a little obtuse on top of that, so...
No, that's fine.
Why not?
That's fine.
Why not?
No such thing as fine exercise.
Well, I just thought, boy, Danny's a guy that we can really hang our hat on what he would say because he's really informed and thoughtful. And he just went, nah, not playing. Thanks for coming.
I think I gave a unique answer, though. I ended up saying 0 now, didn't I?
Yes, you did. You did. I mean, it's dumb, but, yeah, you ended up putting something in there. That was great.
Yes.
I did enjoy that. But, listen, I did just have Judson Richards on and say, what do you think about Ronald Bolaños? And he said, never heard of him. So that was hard-hitting insight we got from San Diego in the last segment. So I can't really complain at you, can I?
No, I don't think you can. I think my answer was at least interesting and caused angst for you, which is always funny.
For you, I guess.
I think for the audience, too, it's kind of funny.
Didn't find it quite as amusing, although you were referenced several times about, just don't ask Danny about Chris Jones' contract. I don't want to see that crap again. So it did make a mark. I will give you that. No, but do you like it that they got it done, or do you dislike it?
I think the Chiefs are really playing an interesting game here. I think they definitely are. Being creative and saying, let's get the job done now when we're white hot, and we don't know what the future really holds. That's why I think they're rolling the dice a little bit here, because in an NFL before the virus, you just knew the cap was going to go up and up and up and up and up, and what the money was going to go up and up and up and up, and maybe contracts that were backloaded had a very good chance of really not hurting you that much. There's risk now, no question about that. I mean, the longer we go and the less progress we make, I'm just chuckling. It's like whistling past the graveyard. The more possibility there is for restricted play over a reasonable amount of time. We keep thinking that each of these things that are starting to occur weren't going to occur. Like college football seems seriously in doubt now. Like I just referenced, the Rose Parade is January 1st. I mean, yeesh. So I think there's a certain amount of risk here, but I think
I think one thing about the Rose Parade, I did think about, which, by the way, on college football is a sidebar. I don't want to we can come back to it. But
sure.
Don't you love how they figured out, okay, we're doing away with that, X number of wins against Division I teams. They've done away with that, right? That mattered in December. And they've done away with the Rose Parade. That matters in January. But they haven't figured out how to practice. That matters tomorrow.
That's true. And, you just see things that the Chiefs and, baseball and football are really not operating in a bubble fashion now. And in the NBA, you see guys getting reported for not wearing a mask or guys leaving the compound.
Out.
So, there's just all kinds of things that can happen with young people that you're trying to make on a daily basis do things that take at least a modicum of effort and impose on their freedoms. It's the right thing to do if you want to play. If you don't care about playing, then, go to Disney World in the off hours. Whatever.
Well, you know how everybody got all fired up, and I want to get back to Chris Jones. We can go further on this later if you want. But remember how when people, if you were talking about concussions, people get pissed off and claim that you were attacking football or you hated football, you were trying to destroy football, which was crap. Caring about the well-being of a human is not trying to end a sport. But we could wheel that out now because of how passionate people are about football. Anyone not wearing a mask hates football. No, you're looking at a football hater. They're anti-Chiefs. They're anti-Patrick Mahomes if they don't wear a mask. I mean, that you could make that case, right?
Yeah, if you put it in those terms, maybe you get some more people to wear a Chiefs mask.
I'm doing whatever I can.
Because, yes, I mean, everything that we don't do puts in peril things we want to do. I have tiptoed around not to offend people on a lot of dumb things, and it seemingly has simply just trying to be like, okay, I don't want to upset anybody. I don't want anybody pissed. I don't want to, everyone can have their own thoughts and everything. But when we're at this point, and what that has gotten us is you just act worse and worse and worse. I'm done with it. I'm done. You're a selfish prick. I mean, sorry. And send me an email. I probably won't answer. I don't care. I'd like to watch a football game this fall, and you're making it not happen. You're a direct result of it not happening, and it sucks because I'm watching every sport in Europe play. I mean, and it's pissing me off that it's Kittyville here, but I don't want to talk about that anymore. No.
Enough about that.
Back to Chris Jones.
Let's talk about Chris Jones. Fat and happy.
Yeah.
That was something you said you thought he had the potential to be fat and happy. Has anything changed on that?
Well, I think I have a little more hope that he won't be fat and happy because I think he did not try to milk every dollar and get as much money up front. So his attitude in regards to the contract, while the overall compensation certainly is just fine, as every contract is these days. But so that makes me think that winning football games seems to at least resonate in some regards to him. So I guess a little bit more, but my natural...
Did it, or are we giving Mahomes did? There's no doubt because Mahomes, pandemic or not, he had the world by the short hairs. Okay, he's the greatest thing going in global sports. I don't know, maybe Messi and Ronaldo are still bigger because soccer's bigger and more global, but he's at least the biggest thing going in American sports. If he'd said, I want $100 million check, or I'm not signing and I'm going to war with a PR campaign about how you guys are cheap, I think the Chiefs would have had to have gotten their checkbook out and found $100 million, right? The Hunt siblings would have had to have gotten out their banks and, oh, God, here's 20 for Patrick, here's 20 from you, 20 from you. They would have had to have done it. I'll buy that with Patrick Mahomes. Chris Jones got the $16 million that he was going to get, right? And even there's a report out today that the Chiefs advanced him. He didn't get a signing bonus, which I don't know how this isn't a signing bonus, but there's a report that he got $1.5 million advanced off his salary. Now that one's a little tricky to me if that report is true. And which one of you guys sent me that, Jed?
I did, yeah. It was from Mike Garafolo.
Yeah, Mike Garafolo or Garafolo or Bolaños.
Bolognese.
Tomato.
Mine was a shot at Shane because that's what he always calls him.
Yeah.
Okay.
He said, where is it? KU's not going to have New Hampshire. I don't see it.
It's right above that one.
Right above that one?
Yeah.
Okay. Let me see. Tap this, see if that'll get bigger. Maybe in a month I'll be able to see it. Here we go. No, that's not. Crap. What does it say? Do you have it there? Just read it. Oh, you suck. It's not right above it.
I'll resend it. Continue.
Well, maybe
on.
it's gone up. Has it
Here,
been?
I've got it.
Okay, thank you. Somebody.
He says,
Finally, Curtis, the voice of reason, saving the show as he always does.
Yes. Reviewing Chris Jones' new contract with the Chiefs. Despite the fact that he didn't get a true signing bonus because of COVID reasons, the team and Jones' agents, the Katz brothers, worked it out so he'd be advanced $1.5 million of his base salary in the coming days.
How is that not a signing bonus? Right? And all that means is that like I think could or would. I don't know.
Well, isn't a signing bonus separate from somebody's salary?
But it's money you get right now. What the
Right.
hell is this?
Well, if he's getting a $1.5 million signing bonus, that's nice and low.
Maybe it's a $1.5 million loan with 0% interest. I don't know. Maybe there's a way to do that. I don't really care, and the $1.5 million is not going to be the difference in very much against the Chiefs salary cap. But like the idea that he does have in year two, he's got a $1 million base salary. There's a roster bonus of $500,000, or excuse me, there's a workout bonus of $500,000, and then a $20 million roster bonus. And similar to Patrick Mahomes, that gives the Chiefs the ability, and by the way, they likely are going to need to do this, to convert that to a signing bonus at that time, and then prorate that over the 3 years of the deal. They'd be the years 21, 22, and 23. And so that's probably going to happen. So, he's getting the same $16 million he was going to get. He's going to get $21.5 million next year, at least 21 if he doesn't want to come work out. $21 million next year. I don't see where he did anybody really any favor.
Well, for this year, I guess there's no big signing bonus. And, guys were getting, he was probably given the market good for, $30 million signing bonus?
Well, that is what – okay, I take that back. That's a very good point, Danny. He helps them out cash flow-wise. I never worry about the cash flow because I don't have to write the check, right? So I could care less where Clark Hunt and the Chiefs organization finds the cash. But, yes, that is a big note because they're gonna be crushed on revenues this year, and they're not having to give him $30 million.
Right.
And so he did do that, and I need to point that out. That is what he did do, was help them with cash flow. Cap-wise, which is what I'm always worried about because all I care about is winning and what it takes to get there, he didn't do him really any favors cap-wise, but I guess cash flow, that's the key. He did, when the organization's going to lose 20 to 35% of its revenue, he did him a solid and not saying, I got to have a big check right now.
Right, and that, he made reasonably good money in his first few years. This wasn't an undrafted free agent or a seventh-round draft choice, but it wasn't like he made big money in his first. So he probably really desired a big payday, but was willing to at least put off having a big, fat, single check for a year, which is. But
don't you like? Here's the moral of the story. Like, and I think it's great that it all worked out, but the only reason I bring this up, because I know fans just want to hear that it's all great, and Chris Jones is the best, and we're going to win and all that. And then when they lose, they'll call in and say everybody sucks. It's just the nature of fandom. But, he was talking Aaron Donald, and he got DeForest Buckner. Now, he got more guaranteed. He got $60 million guaranteed as opposed to $45 million. So, and that's a big distinction. So his contract, even though it's $4 million less in total dollars, if he would play the whole thing out, it's $15 million more in guaranteed. which is a little bit of a reason. Like if you're willing to leave $4 million, you got $5 million in incentives that could take it to 85. But isn't that a little bit of like, all I care about is getting my cash, and maybe I'll mail it in?
I'm still concerned about that. It's just, I never think about Chris Jones being a super highly paid player with a championship already in his pocket, and not think that in a position that's a very difficult one to play on a down-to-down basis. I've talked about this before. Even if you're an edge rusher, that's even more of a, quote-unquote fun position. But still, you have to bring it on every play in order to maybe make 3 big plays. I mean, a 3-sack day is a monstrous day. And you may, you have to kill yourself on, 50 snaps or 40 snaps or something. And inside, or relatively inside, is even more of a thankless job. So I think you always concern yourself with that, with a highly paid interior defender. I mean, and maybe it's just unfair because he's got a gregarious personality, but I'm just being honest, that it pops into my head every time I thought about it, him getting big money. Because there's a variety of reasons for him not to bring the kind of uber intensity you need to make plays in that position.
Well, I don't know. I think it was Sam. Was it Sam McDowell or was it Seth Kaiser? I can't remember. One of them said, listen, this is a guy that scouts were saying at the combine, were telling him, well, our fear is you're lazy. That he thought he was going to be a first-round pick, and the reason he was there in the second round is because he had a knock on being lazy. Now, I don't think he's been lazy. He hasn't come in here and been a fat ass. He's come in here and gotten in better shape.
Yeah, better shape.
Basically every year. So from that standpoint, he is proven that wrong. He's been a tremendous player and been in better shape every single year.
I think it will be interesting in this context and with the money now and what kind of shape he'll be in this year. That'll be interesting.
I think so too. I definitely think it's going to be, and that's true for a lot of guys, right? With everything that's going on here. Let's take a break. Danny Clinkscale's with us. He's brought to you by our friends at Easton Roofing. Integrity matters. You can call Easton Roofing today, 913-257-5426. Whether you're looking for employment, they've got generous sign-on bonuses for qualified candidates, even more for veterans. Paid training for those with little or no experience. It's Easton Roofing, 913-257-5426. Free estimate, free inspection right now at Easton Roofing. Find them online at eastonroofing.com.
More of Danny's Reasonably Irreverent podcast after this.
We're here with Joe Spiker, the CEO and president of Easton Roofing. And, Joe, you had a great year in 2019, a record year. 2020 comes, things are moving smoothly along, and then the coronavirus comes. But your company seemed to be very ready, very proactive, and very ready to serve your customers well.
Yeah, we adopted social distancing very early before the cities even put out the notices. And we started working from home. We are largely cloud-based as a company, so that transition was easy. Our technicians are wearing masks and gloves, and salespeople are not meeting with homeowners. We're doing everything digitally and doing everything we can to do our part to get over this as quickly as possible.
So for any needs that people have right now, what's the best way to get in touch with you?
Well, you can always call us, 913-257-5426. But the best way is to go to eastonroofing.com, put your information in, and we'll give you a call.
Easton Roofing. Integrity matters.
3 Notre Dame players have started at quarterback in a Super Bowl. Who was the first to do it?
Well, Theismann did. I don't think he was probably the first.
Nope.
This Curtis and I talked about this. This answer is astounding. So I wouldn't kill yourself on this one. If you got
astounding?
This, I'll give you. I'll like the next time I see you, which could be the year 2025. I don't know. I will flat ass give you a $20 bill if you get this right.
You can always mail it to
All right. So give me the wording of the question.
Three Notre Dame players have started at quarterback in a Super Bowl. Who was the first to do it? If he started a quarterback, it goes without saying he's a named guy, but it's a guy that
hey,
you will have heard
about.
There's
$20 on the line now. Let's not start.
Let's not give him.
Yeah. So The Heisman's just too easy. I would never get it.
Yeah,
I would never get it.
Like I said, I would not sit there racking your brain.
Okay, $20 are off. Give me a clue.
It's hard to give you a clue.
Yeah, it is hard to give it a clue. Did it in the conference that begins with an A? AFL/AFC.
I'll tell you. I'll give you another hint. He did it before it was the Super Bowl, right? I mean, technically.
Correct.
So that was Star against Dawson. That was Star against who was it for the Raiders?
You're in the right ballpark. Very much the right ballpark. The Mad Bomber, Daryl LaMonica.
Daryl LaMonica.
See, I
should have got that.
I would have guessed Daryl. I might have thought about Daryl LaMonica, but I don't have any resonance that Daryl LaMonica played for Notre Dame. That's the problem.
I don't either.
When I heard that, I'm like, what? He played at Notre Dame? Never even thought that. I mean, if you asked me where Daryl LaMonica played quarterback in college, Notre Dame wouldn't even have resonated in any way. I wouldn't even made it one of my first 20 guesses, which is weird.
Wow. Yeah, I guess I don't know why I didn't. I know George Blanda went to Kentucky. I know Bart Starr went to Alabama. I know Lynn Dawson went to Purdue.
Yeah.
I know, I had Ken Stabler went to Alabama. I know where a lot of those guys, but I've never. It's never come across.
Which is weird because it's Notre Dame too.
Yeah, right.
I don't even. Look at. Maybe he didn't do much at Notre Dame, or maybe he played on a bad Notre Dame.
He was drafted by the Bills in like '64, and they did nothing.
There were a couple bad Notre Dame teams in the '60s. I think they had a little light period, I think.
Well, maybe that's what it was.
I don't know.
Anyway, Good Sense, what we were playing for. Go to goodsensesubs.com right now if you're looking for a little late lunch or just for dinner. You can put in your order right now, what time you want to pick it up, and you can get that world-class Kansas City sub. Founded right here in Lenexa, Kansas 30 years ago. They have you covered, slicing the meats and cheeses fresh right in front of you, baking the bread fresh twice each day. They've also got their Good Sense to-go meals as well. If you want to stock up on some of those, grab them, and free cookie for any youth soccer player that is wearing their youth soccer jersey. Proud partner of Sporting Kansas City. Grab yourself some Good Sense tonight before you sit down and watch Sporting Kansas City on the pitch. We're talking to Danny Clinkscale, brought to you by our friends at Easton Roofing. Integrity matters.
Would Daryl LaMonica and Carson Palmer be the only significant quarterbacks who wear number 3, I think?
Russell Wilson now.
Oh, yeah, that's right, Russell Wilson.
By the way, LaMonica started 3 years at Notre Dame, and in 30 games, he threw 211 passes and completed 99 of them.
And he was the Mad Bomber.
And he was the Mad Bomber in Oakland. He threw 211 passes in 3 years.
That's wild.
Wow.
By the way, Danny, did you see the Royals announced catcher Nick Deeney and left-hand pitcher Daniel Teo have tested positive for COVID-19?
No, I did not see that, but it seems like catcher seems to be a big catcher is a cluster now.
I was going to say, like, whatever the catch, we need to rethink what the catchers are doing.
I would say so. Yeah, either where they're gathering or where they, where the catcher's room is. I don't know.
Are they wearing the wrong kind of mask?
Is this just like this is the timeline it takes that one is infected, the other is infected, the other?
Well, it seems wildly coincidental. If it's what's that? 4 catchers now? At least
3.
At least
Cam
3.
Gallagher, Deeney, Salvi.
Right.
Wow.
I mean,
that's not a crazy theory for sure. I mean,
they better be deep cleansing the room that the catchers gather in. I'll say that.
Wow.
Yeah, I listen. It's a challenge, but yeah, that is I think just interesting. All right, Tim Hill for Franchi Cordero and Ronald Bolaños. You like the deal?
Yeah, I mean, this is the kind of thing that's neat to talk about because, it's a transaction. This is a potentially almost virtually insignificant move in down the line. We may never resonate, but especially in a world where now a situational left-hander has to stay in the game for a certain amount of time, I think they become that much less valuable. And if you've got some people couple of guys that you think have some upside, and you have a couple of other left-handers you can use out of the bullpen, and the guy's 30 years old, and as I said, he's a true situational loogie-type pitcher in a rule change era. So, yeah, I guess that's a long explanation to say, yes, I do like the deal, although I don't know what great significance it might have. But the thing is, when Dayton Moore's saying, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying he's going to be Nelson Cruz or Jorge. What he's saying is, hey, this guy's got a chance to be Nelson Cruz. That's what he's saying. So
no, you don't bring up those names
right.
unless that's what you're thinking. And once you put those names out there, that's what's going to be associated with it. I mean, there's no getting away from that.
Right. Absolutely. I mean, you've got the.
I like it though. I do like an upside bat and an upside arm for a guy who is what he is, and what he is very good. Good. I mean,
and what he is also
old.
More important to a team. We all hope that in this sprint the Royals may catch lightning in a bottle, but a loogie lefty is a winning team piece.
Right.
That's the type of thing that you want on your team because one at bat may be part of a world championship run, although he can't do one at bat now unless he ends the inning.
Well, the Padres had great depth. They have depth of pitching. They have depth of outfielders, and so they're dealing depth for a piece that they need to win right now, and they need to get off the schneid and actually have a playoff year. So I get why they did it.
Yeah.
And the price is such that I think they may have called and said, "Hey, we're interested in Tim Hill." No, we like Tim Hill. Tim Hill's good. Well, we'll give you this guy. No. Well, how about this guy? No. How about this guy and this guy? Oh, okay. I can't say no to that. Yeah.
Right.
So I don't think this means that the Royals are necessarily just tossing in the towel. But if what I would do is I'd bury Cordero in the minors, and I wouldn't play him this year. So I have 4 years of control, and in the minors, which is the taxi squad.
Right.
And hopefully he can stay sharp. Playing fake baseball, and then we've got 4 years of control. Maybe I bring him up. Wherever I got to steal a year. He's got, what is he? I looked it up. He's got 2 years and I think 11 days or something is where his service time is. So you've got a chance here.
38 days?
Is that what it is?
2 and 38.
I got to find the right one. Here he is. 2 and 38. Yeah. So 170 equals 182. So 170 is the cutoff. I don't think the Royals really care about Super 2 status. So to avoid 38 days at 38 divided by 2.67, Curtis. That's what we're looking at here. I'll do it.
2.67.
38 divided by
14.2.
So if they leave him down for 2 weeks and a day, then he'll avoid, the 3 years.
Yeah, I think upside from both sides. This works. The Padres have have a glut of talent at a position like that. They've actually given the guy a reasonable look, and he hasn't shown much, and one of the players hasn't shown the ability to stay healthy either. So, I think it's a good. I understand totally why the Royals did it. Why wouldn't you roll the dice in this situation with a piece that fits better in another situation, and is 30 years old?
Boy, but you know what to offer the Royals if you want to make a deal, don't you?
Yes.
Toolsy
players.
Yeah, I talked to a general manager once who I said, how about this guy? And he's like, that's a guy I'll probably trade to the A's. And he ended up playing for the A's. He's like, this is what he is. He's on base. He's what the A's look for. So he goes, to be honest with you, I don't see him ever really doing much for us, but I could probably spin him to the A's at some point. You knew what they were all about. What the Royals are. You get a toolsy guy. Oh, man. And when it comes together like it did last year for Jorge Soler, because that's what he is, you're like, okay, man, let's go get it. But you got to get a lot of those toolsy guys because a lot of them just flame out.
Right. Well, they've gotten a lot of guys, or they've taken a stab at a lot of guys who have raw ability or tools or speed. athletes who are trying to transition to becoming better baseball players. And it's a long shot deal. And basically, if you get just Jorge Soler out of it in a 5-year period, it's probably worth it.
Yeah, no,
unless you give up something significant for it. And they're not.
Yeah, but I do like this deal, and I get the sense that this was the Padres saying this is what we need, and we're going for it, and so we'll overpay for it. And the Royals are the benefactor of it. And Dayton Moore did say, "Listen, we're not playing games with service time." Well, I appreciate that, and I think he's more alluding to his pitching. That if those pitchers are ready, he'll let them go. When he made that statement, he didn't have Franchi Cordero on his roster. You should play service time games with Franchi Cordero. That's smart GMing. The rules are what they are, and everybody else is using the rules. You've got to use the rules to your maximum benefit, and so that means Cordero needs to sit for about 16 days, and then you can bring him up.
What's the over-under on days that he's with the Royals before he's called Frankie? 4?
Well, Ned would have already done it.
French. If he already has a Y, you have to take the Y off.
Is this a traditional Latin name, and I just don't know it?
I don't know it. I haven't heard it. It sounds like a nickname more to me, like his name's.
But that's his given name.
Oh, it is his
Yes.
given name. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Franchi Cordero Vargas.
Well, I haven't seen the name before, and I've seen thousands of Latin baseball players' names, and I've never run across that. So I can't imagine it's like Jorge.
Yeah,
so
it's like you think you do think it's Spanish for Frank?
No, not necessarily. I'm just saying that they tend to Americanize even glorious names, which has always infuriated me. I'm like, look at this guy's got this beautiful name that just rolls off your tongue, and now he's Biff.
Biff Cordero. Now batting.
Do you have an example?
Fielder, Biff Cordero.
Not off the top of my head, but I've just seen it so many times where the guy's name is, say his name is Adalberto or whatever, and all of a sudden he's Bert.
Yeah.
Coco Crisp I guess Covelli.
Yeah.
Covelli. That's a great name.
That is a great name.
It is a great name.
That is a great name. All right, we'll take a break. We'll talk a little bit more about if the NFL is actually going to get started this weekend like it's supposed to. Danny Unleashed, brought to you by our friends at Easton Roofing. Call 913-257-5426. One of the fastest-growing companies in Kansas City. That's Easton Roofing. Why? Because people love the work that they do. Check out their Google reviews. You'll see that they're an Angie's List Super Service Award winner 4 straight years, voted best of houses. Find them online at eastonroofing.com. Easton Roofing. Integrity matters.
More of Danny's Reasonably Irreverent podcast after this.
We're here with Joe Spiker, the CEO and president of Easton Roofing. What's the difference at this time of year as we head toward the warmer months for homeowners, and what should they be looking at, coronavirus or not?
If you didn't do a good job of home maintenance in the fall, cleaning your gutters out, when we get the spring rains, that can be a real problem. So you want to make sure that you've done a good job on your home maintenance, cleaning your gutters out. We can help with that. I always tell people they never get their roof inspected. They get their furnace inspected once a year, but they never get their roof inspected. And we do the inspection on your roof for free. So you call, you make an appointment, and we'll show up, do the inspection. It's free. You should have your roof looked at once a year. Take advantage of us. And most likely you're fine. And if there's a problem, hopefully we can get out in front of it and save you money in the end.
So for any needs that people have right now, what's the best way to get in touch with you?
Well, you can always call us, 913-257-5426. But the best way is to go to eastonroofing.com, put your information in, and we'll give you a call.
Easton Roofing. Integrity matters.
Danny Unleashed, Danny Clinkscale from DannyClinkscale.com. Joining us, you can check out his great work there, DannyClinkscale.com. He's proudly brought to you by Easton Roofing. Residential, commercial, they do them both. Repairs, yes, they're happy to repair your roof. If that's all you need, that's all you'll do. Integrity matters. At Easton Roofing, call right now at 913-257-5426. Find them online at eastonroofing.com, and I remind you, they are hiring with generous bonuses for qualified candidates, paid training for those with little or no experience, and great benefits. Easton Roofing, one of the fastest-growing companies in Kansas City. Check them out right now at eastonroofing.com. Danny, J.J. Watt, a week ago, was talking about that if he has to wear a face shield, he's not going to play. And then a week later, he's saying, in the interest of having everyone on the same page in terms of what we know and don't know at this time, here are a few things I've learned being on 4 NFL PA calls in the last 2 weeks with hundreds of other players. Keep in mind, our rookies are scheduled to report in 48 hours. He says, here's what we know. We want to play. We want to be as safe as possible. Okay, not based on what you said last week. We've not received a single valid infectious disease emergency response plan from any team or the league. We don't know if there are preseason games or not. We don't know if there will be daily testing, semi-daily testing, etc. We don't know how a potential positive COVID test would affect contracts, roster spots, etc. Nothing has been agreed upon regarding what training camp will actually look like and how the ramp-up period will work. We want to play. Yeah, like I'm sure the owners are saying, we haven't heard one thing from the NFLPA about how they want to do camp. Like, how much of do we have to sit and listen to J.J. Watt act like, why isn't all this already figured out for us? I've been asking players this for 2 months, and it was blown off, and they couldn't even really get their arms around what it was I was asking them. Like, hey, have you talked to the NFLPA about training camp and how it's going to work? Like, no, I haven't really done it. And now J.J. Watt's here acting like, how come this hasn't already been done?
Well, I think that the way that this has played out is that people have been far too optimistic. Now, maybe they just, they were just in the dark. And it's not as if a whole bunch of people were saying things on the other side. It's just that, well, that's 2 months away. Everything will be fine. I think that's been a general attitude, that if something is 2, 3, 4 months down the road, we don't have to deal with it. We don't have to, come up with a contingency plan. And in the end, if you get to said time and you haven't had a contingency plan, then you got to make one up, and that'll just delay the process. It's seeming more and more. I think the NFL is going to play football. Are they going to play 16 games of football? I don't know. But I do think it's becoming more and more likely they're going to play football later than they wanted to, and that the season is going to extend later, which is no real disaster at this point in time. And hopefully that just, starting in mid to late September and playing on through is a viable thing, because they're right. They're not putting things in place, and both sides definitely are at fault for it.
Yeah. Well, let's hope they get it all together, because I want football. That's for damn sure. Danny, always great talking to you, buddy. We appreciate it. Check out Danny's work at DannyClinkscale.com. Have a great weekend, buddy.
Same to you, Soren.
Danny Clinkscale, brought to you by Easton Roofing. You can find them online at eastonroofing.com.
This podcast was made possible by our great sponsors like Easton Roofing, the presenting sponsor of Kansas City Profiles at the Danny Clinkscale Reasonably Irreverent podcast. Easton Roofing, where integrity matters. We hope you enjoyed the latest Danny Clinkscale Reasonably Irreverent podcast. Come back soon for something fresh and new.